The great hall of the palace shined with light from 3 suns. Thousands of people filled the room. They wore expensive clothes covered in jewels. Everyone waited for the royal wedding to begin, but Princess had other plans. She stood in front of her father's throne. Her wings were folded tight against her back. This meant she was angry, very angry. The crowd grew quiet when she raised her hand. "I will not marry Prince Talon," said. Her voice was clear and strong. It echoed through the massive hall. People gasped. Some covered their mouths. Others whispered to each other. No one could believe what they just heard. A princess does not refuse a royal command. Not ever. Emperor stood up from his throne. His face turned red with anger. He was a large man with silver hair and bright gold eyes. When he spoke, his voice shook with rage. "This wedding was planned many years ago," the emperor said. "It will join 2 powerful families. You cannot just say no." "I can say no, and I am saying no," looked at her father without fear. "I will not be sold like property." Prince Talon stepped forward. He was tall with green scales covering his body. His eyes were black and cold. He smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a hunter looking at trapped prey. "Maybe the princess needs time to think," Talon said. His voice was smooth like oil. "After all, her planet needs my protection. Without my army, the enemies will destroy everything." Everyone in the hall knew what he meant. It was a threat. "Marry me or your people will die." They had already destroyed 12 planets. They were coming closer every day. Without Prince Talon's fleet of warships, the empire would fall. But did not look scared. She looked more determined than ever. "Then the council must find another way to protect us," she said. "I will find my own solution." She turned and walked out of the throne room. Her long dress swept behind her. Guards moved aside to let her pass. No one tried to stop her. The entire court sat in shocked silence. Handmaiden ran after her through the golden hallways. She had served since they were both children, knew when to speak and when to stay quiet. Right now, she needed to speak. "Your Highness, what will you do?" whispered. She looked around to make sure no one could hear them. "Your father will not accept this. Prince Talon will not accept this." Stopped walking. She stood by a tall window that looked out over the capital city. Millions of people lived there. They were her responsibility. She took a deep breath. "I have heard stories," said quietly. "Stories about warriors from a planet called Earth. They call themselves humans. People say these humans are incredible fighters. They win battles that should be impossible to win." His eyes went wide. "You mean to hire them, human mercenaries?" "Yes, if the stories are even half true, they could save us." Touched the window glass. It was cool under her fingers. "If I can bring these humans here, my father will not need Talon's fleet, and I will be free." "But Your Highness, these are just stories. What if humans are not as good as people say?" Smiled for the first time that day. It was a small smile, but a real one. "Then I will think of something else, but I have to try. I cannot marry that monster." Had heard the rumors about Prince Talon. He had been married twice before. Both wives died under strange circumstances. The official reports said accidents, but everyone suspected murder. Prince Talon wanted power more than anything. A wife was just a tool to him. When the tool was no longer useful, he got rid of it. "How will you contact these humans?" asked. "I have already sent a message," said. "Through secret channels. Military encryption that even my father's spies cannot break. I offered a large payment just for a meeting. If the human captain is interested in money, he will come. And if he is not interested in money." Turned from the window. Her violet eyes were hard as diamonds. "Then I will offer him something better. I will offer him glory. I will offer him a chance to fight an impossible battle and win. From what I hear about humans, that is what they love most." Back in the throne room, Emperor sat heavily on his throne. He looked old suddenly, tired. His advisors gathered around him, all speaking at once. Your Majesty, you must command her to obey, one advisor said. Lock her in her rooms until she agrees, another suggested. The princess has shamed us in front of everyone, a third complained. But the emperor raised his hand for silence. He had ruled for 50 years. He knew his daughter better than anyone, had her mother's spirit. Her mother had been just as stubborn, just as brave. That stubbornness had made her a great queen. It also made her impossible to control. Leave me, the emperor commanded. All of you, I need to think. The advisors bowed and left. Only Prince Talon remained. He stood in the shadows near the throne. His black eyes gleamed with anger. You will force her to marry me, Talon said. It was not a question, it was a demand. Emperor looked at the prince. He had never liked Talon. The prince was cruel and greedy, but he had a fleet of 300 warships. They needed those ships. I will speak to my daughter, the emperor said carefully, but is not a child, she cannot be forced. Cannot or will not, Talon's voice turned cold. Remember, Emperor, our agreement benefits you, but it also benefits me. If there is no wedding, there is no alliance, and without my fleet that will burn your worlds to ash. The threat hung in the air like poison. The emperor felt anger rise in his chest. He wanted to throw this arrogant prince out of his palace, but he could not. His people's lives depended on this alliance. Give me time, the emperor said finally. I will make understand. Talon smiled his cold smile again. You have 1 week, Emperor. After that, I will consider our agreement broken, and I will take my fleet elsewhere. He bowed, but it was a mocking bow. Then he left the throne room. His footsteps echoed on the marble floor. The emperor sat alone in the empty hall. The 3 suns outside were setting. Long shadows filled the room. He thought about his daughter. He thought about his people. He thought about the impossible choice in front of him. Somewhere in the palace, Princess was making plans. She did not know if the humans would come. She did not know if they could really help. But she knew one thing for certain. She would rather die free than live as Talon's prisoner. And if that meant starting a war or breaking her empire, then so be it. The royal wedding was supposed to happen in 1 week, but now everything had changed. The princess had said no, and that one word would change the fate of an entire empire. Captain stood on the bridge of his ship. The ship was called the Iron Horizon. It was not pretty or fancy. It was built for war. Everything about it was practical and strong, just like the 40 humans who lived on it. Looked at the screen in front of him. It showed different job offers from across the galaxy. Rich people wanted bodyguards. Mining companies wanted security. Planets wanted help with small wars. The pay was good, but the work was boring. Another escort mission, said his second in command. She sat at the navigation station. Her fingers moved across the controls. These aliens have no imagination. It is always the same jobs. Smiled a little. He was 32 years old but looked younger. His black hair was cut short. Scars covered his arms from dozens of battles. He had left Earth 10 years ago looking for adventure. He found plenty of it. The money is decent, said, but yes, very boring. Then his computer made a sound. A new message appeared. It was marked urgent and private. Opened it and his eyes went wide. Well, this is interesting, he said. What is it? Turned to look at him. A message from Princess of the Empire. She wants to meet with me. She is offering 5 million credits just for a meeting. Whistled. That was a lot of money. Aren't they the ones having that big royal wedding everyone talks about? Apparently not anymore. Read the message again carefully. It was encrypted with military-level security. Someone was trying very hard to keep this secret. Someone is desperate. Could be a trap. Could be, but I am curious. Made his decision quickly. He always trusted his instincts. Set course for the home world. Let us see what a princess wants with human mercenaries. The Iron Horizon traveled through space for 2 days. During that time, learned everything he could about the Empire. They were an old civilization, very advanced, very rich. They were also in trouble. The Dominion was expanding fast. It had already conquered 12 planets that were next in line. Princess wedding to Prince Talon was supposed to solve this problem. Talon had a huge fleet of warships. The wedding would create an alliance. But now the princess had refused to marry. That was very unusual. Royal marriages were about politics, not love. A princess who said no was either very brave or very stupid. When they arrived at the home world, went alone to the meeting. The message had included coordinates for a secret location. It was a chamber deep under the palace gardens. No guards, no witnesses, very secret indeed. Princess arrived exactly on time. Understood immediately why people said they were the most beautiful species in the galaxy. She was tall with smooth skin that seemed to glow. Her wings were folded behind her back. They looked like stained glass catching light, but it was her eyes that caught his attention. They were bright violet and filled with intelligence and determination. "Captain," she said formally, "thank you for coming." "Your Highness," replied. He bowed slightly. It was not a deep bow. Humans did not bow deeply to anyone. "Your message was interesting, though I should tell you that kidnapping a princess usually pays better than meeting with one." Looked surprised for a moment, then she laughed. It was a real laugh, not a polite princess laugh. A sense of humor that is rare among warriors. "We humans have many surprises," studied her carefully. She looked calm, but he could see the tension in her shoulders. What does a princess need with mercenaries, especially when she is about to marry the sector's most powerful military commander? "That is exactly what I need to discuss," pointed to chairs made from crystal. They sat down facing each other. "I need warriors, Captain, real ones, the kind who can win impossible battles." "And you heard stories about humans." "I heard many things. People say you are reckless, that you do not know when to retreat, that you charge into suicide missions and somehow survive." She leaned forward. Her eyes were intense. "Are the stories true?" Thought about his answer. He wanted to be honest. Honesty was important in business. Humans have certain advantages. We heal faster than most species. We can ignore pain better than others, and we have a stubborn refusal to accept defeat. He met her gaze directly. "But mostly, Your Highness, we are just too stupid to know when we are beaten." Smiled at that. "Perfect, that is exactly what I need." She explained her situation. The Dominion was coming. Her father had arranged her marriage to Prince Talon to get his fleet, but Talon was cruel and dangerous. His 2 previous wives had died under mysterious circumstances, would rather die than marry him. "I need an alternative," she said. "Prove that human warriors can defend my people. Then I can break the engagement. My father cares about results, not romance." "You want us to fight raised an eyebrow, with 40 soldiers?" "Not the entire invasion, just one battle." Pulled out a small computer tablet. She showed him a map. "They are attacking mining colony 17 in 3 days. 2,000 shock troops against 500 poorly armed miners. The colony will fall. The Dominion will establish a base in our territory." Her voice was hard and determined. "Unless you stop them. The math does not favor us." "Captain, I am not asking for miracles. I am asking for humans." She looked at him with those bright violet eyes. "I have done research. I know your reputation. You have won battles against worse odds." That was true. Humans had a reputation across this part of the galaxy. They were new to space, only traveling to the stars for 50 years. But in that short time they had become famous as warriors, or maybe infamous was a better word. "What are you offering?" asked. 50 million credits. 10 million now, 40 million when you win. And if you succeed, I will hire you as my personal guard force. The contract would be worth 10 times that amount every year. Who had been listening quietly from a corner of the room made a small sound. That was a fortune, more money than they had ever seen. Felt his blood moving faster. This was suicide. The odds were terrible. 2,000 trained soldiers against 40. Any sane person would say no, but humans were not always sane. That was their secret. They did things that sensible species considered impossible. "We need complete control," said. "No interference from your military commanders. We do things our way." "Agreed. And I want your word. If we die trying, you will not marry Talon anyway. Find another solution." Smile was sad but determined. "You have my word. I will find another way or die trying myself." Stood up, he held out his hand in the human custom, looked at it for a moment. Then she took his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth, but her grip was strong. "Then you have a deal, Your Highness. Let us go save a mining colony." After left turned to, she shook her head. "You are crazy. We are all crazy. This is going to get us killed." "Probably," agreed. He was smiling, though. "But think about it. 40 humans against 2,000 aliens. If we win, we will be legends. And if we lose, then we die doing something interesting, better than escort duty." He clapped her on the shoulder. "Come on, we have a battle to plan, and only 3 days to prepare." They walked back to their ship. Above them, the 3 suns were setting. The violet sky was beautiful. Wondered if he would see another sunset after this mission. Maybe yes, maybe no. But that was the human way. Jump first, think later. It had worked so far. The Iron Horizon arrived at mining colony 17-18 hours before the attack was expected. The colony was small and dirty. It sat on an asteroid rich in valuable minerals. 500 miners worked there. They were tough people, but they were not soldiers. Called a meeting in the ship's briefing room. All 40 members of his crew gathered. They were men and women from different parts of Earth. Some were former soldiers, others were adventurers. A few were running from trouble back home, but they all had one thing in common. They loved a good fight. Wright started. He pulled up a holographic map of the colony. "We are outnumbered 50-1. The enemy has better weapons, better armor, and air support. The miners have mining lasers and desperation. Any questions?" A big man named raised his hand. He was covered in scars and had a metal plate in his skull from an old injury. "Are we charging straight at them? Or are we being creative first and then charging straight at them?" Everyone laughed. That was the human way. Fight smart if possible, fight crazy if necessary, always fight. Grinned, creative first. "The colony has 3 entrance points. They will expect us to defend all 3. Instead, we let them in." He changed the holographic display. It showed underground tunnels beneath the colony. The miners had been digging for 20 years. The tunnels connected everything like a spider web. "The miners hide in these tunnels," explained. "We put them at defensive positions underground. They enter the surface buildings. They spread out looking for people. Then we hit them in small groups. Guerrilla tactics, hit and run, make them scared and confused." "And us?" asked. "We are the hammer," pointed to a ship in orbit above the colony. "Once they are scattered on the ground, we attack their command ship. We cut off the head. The body dies." A woman named spoke up. She was small but deadly with any weapon. "How do we get to the command ship without being shot down?" "With a stealth shuttle, luck, and the fact that they will not expect us to be that stupid." Looked at each face. "This is going to be loud, messy, and probably insane. Standard human tactics." The crew cheered. These were people who had chosen to leave Earth and fight for money across the galaxy. They were not afraid of death. They were afraid of boredom. Spent the next hours meeting with the colony administrator. Her name was. She was a middle-aged woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been running this colony for 15 years. "You really think you can stop them?" asked. She sounded doubtful. 2,000 warriors, they are trained killers." "So are we," said simply. "But we need your help. Your people need to follow orders exactly. No heroes, no panic, just do what we tell you." Studied him for a long moment, then she nodded. "All right, we will trust you, not like we have a choice anyway." She gathered all the miners in the main hall, explained the plan. Some miners looked scared, others looked angry, a few looked excited. War brought out different reactions in different people. "You want us to hide while you fight," one miner called out. He was young and proud. "That makes us cowards." "No," said firmly. "It makes you smart. You are miners, not soldiers. Your job is to survive. Our job is to kill the enemy. Let us do our job." The young miner sat down, still looking unhappy, but he did not argue. "Anyone who can shoot a gun, we will give you positions in the tunnels," continued. "You will be our second line of defense. When they come into the tunnels, you shoot. Then you run deeper, make them chase you, slow them down. Every minute they waste is another minute for us to work." Raised her hand. "What if your plan fails? What if they kill all of you?" "Then you collapse the tunnels and wait for rescue," said honestly. "You can survive underground for weeks if you have to. The military will eventually come. Just stay alive." It was not a happy answer, but it was an honest one. The miners appreciated that. Over the next 16 hours, crew prepared the colony. They set up ambush points throughout the surface buildings. They rigged explosives in key locations. They positioned the miners in the safest parts of the tunnel system. They checked every weapon 3 times. Worked with 5 other crew members to prepare the stealth shuttle. It was a small ship designed to avoid sensors. Normally, it was used for sneaking cargo past customs inspectors. Today, it would sneak armed humans past military warships. "This is the thing we have ever done," said as she checked the shuttle's systems. "And that is saying something." "Remember the job on Station Sigma?" asked. He was working on the shuttle's weapons. "When we had to fight through 300 gang members with only knives." "Or the mission on the ice planet," added. "When our ship crashed and we had to walk 50 kilometers through a blizzard while being chased by robot death machines." "Or that time on the Jungle World when we accidentally started a war between 2 alien tribes and had to fight our way out of both armies," laughed. "Good times." "We should probably stop volunteering for suicide missions," said. "Where is the fun in that?" had walked up behind them. "Besides, we are humans. Suicide missions are our specialty." Everyone nodded at that. It was true. Other species in the galaxy were smarter and more advanced, but humans had something special. They had the ability to look at terrible odds and say, "Let us try anyway." That quality made them dangerous. It also made them heroes. The attack came exactly on schedule. 3 drop ships appeared in the sky. They were huge, ugly things covered in weapons. Plasma cannons opened fire on the colony's shield generators. The shields held for about 5 minutes. Then they failed. The dropships landed. Ramps lowered. Warriors poured out. They were insect-like creatures with hard shells and multiple arms. Each one carried advanced weapons. They moved in organized groups, clearing buildings systematically. They found empty buildings. No miners, no resistance. Just abandoned equipment and empty rooms. "Where are they?" the commander demanded over the radio. "There should be 500 humans here." "Maybe they evacuated," one of his officers suggested. "Impossible, our scouts would have seen ships leaving." Felt uneasy. Something was wrong. Spread out, search everywhere. They must be hiding underground. That was exactly what wanted them to think. He watched from a hidden position as they separated into smaller groups. They were searching buildings, following tunnels, moving deeper into the colony, getting scattered. "Now," he said quietly into his radio. All across the colony, humans opened fire. Mining lasers, rifles, grenades, and improvised explosives hit them from unexpected directions. Then the humans disappeared before the enemy could respond. Organized assault turned into chaos. His troops were being attacked from everywhere and nowhere. They could not find the enemy. Every time they thought they had located the attackers, they found empty rooms. "They are in the tunnels," realized. "Collapse the tunnels, seal them inside." But the tunnels were too numerous and too deep. It would take hours to collapse them all, and his soldiers were dying. 20 were already dead, then 30, then 50. In orbit, piloted the stealth shuttle toward the command ship, sat beside her with 5 other crew members. They were the strike team, the crazy ones. "They are scanning for threats," reported. Warning lights flashed on her control panel. "But they are looking for big ships, not something this small." "Story of humanity," said. He checked his weapons one more time. Rifle, pistol, grenades, combat knife, everything he needed. Always doing things too small and too stupid to be threats, until we are. The shuttle attached to the side of the ship. Breaching charges blew a hole in the hull. Air rushed out. Alarms screamed. His team rushed inside. The inside of the command ship was chaos. Red emergency lights flashed. Alarms screamed in alien languages. Crew members ran in all directions. Some tried to grab weapons. Others tried to seal the breach in the hull. None of them expected to see humans charging through their ship. Fired his rifle in controlled bursts. 3 shots dropped a crew member. 2 more shots took down another. Beside him, moved with brutal efficiency. The big man used his rifle like a club when enemies got too close. "Bridge is 4 levels up," his voice came through their helmets. She was back in the shuttle monitoring their progress. "You have maybe 5 minutes before they organize a real defense." "Copy that," replied. He threw a grenade down a hallway. The explosion sent soldiers flying. "Move fast, stay together." The team fought through corridors filled with crew members. Most on this ship were operators and technicians, not front-line soldiers. They were not prepared for close combat with humans, and humans were terrifying in close combat. Took 3 plasma hits to his chest. The shots burned through his armor. He screamed in pain but did not fall. His body was already releasing chemicals that blocked pain and increased strength. He kept firing until his rifle was empty. Then he pulled out his pistol and kept shooting. "Man down," someone called out, but was not down. He was still fighting even with injuries that would have killed most species. That was the human advantage. They simply did not stop. The team reached an elevator shaft, placed charges on the doors. The explosion blew them open. Inside was a long vertical tunnel with cables running through it. "We climb," said. "Of course we do," muttered, but she was already grabbing the cables. Humans were good climbers. Their ancestors had climbed trees to escape predators millions of years ago. That instinct was still there. They climbed 4 levels in under 2 minutes. Their muscles burned, their lungs ached, but they kept moving. Below them, security forces were finally organizing. Shots hit the walls around them. One shot grazed leg. She grunted but did not stop climbing. They reached the bridge level and blew open the doors. The bridge was large and filled with computer stations. Officers shouted orders. The ship's commander stood in the center. He was bigger than the other. His shell was decorated with marks showing his rank. "Humans," said. His voice came through their suit translators. "You are as foolish as the reports claim. This ship has 300 crew members. You are 6. 7, corrected over the radio. "And I just locked out your helm controls. Your ship is now on a collision course with the asteroid. Impact in 3 minutes. His multiple eyes widened. His mandibles clicked in distress. "You are bluffing." Pointed his rifle at the commander. "We are human. We do not bluff. We just do incredibly stupid things and somehow survive." His voice was cold and hard. "Your choice, Commander. Order your troops to retreat from the colony, or we all die together in 3 minutes. And trust me, humans are very comfortable with mutual destruction." He was not lying. Every human on his crew understood the mission. Win or die trying. There was no middle ground, no surrender. That was what made humans different. Other species valued survival above everything. Humans valued winning above everything, even above their own lives. Looked at the humans, 6 warriors covered in blood and burns. They should be dead or dying. Instead, they stood ready to fight. He had heard stories about human endurance, about their pain tolerance, about their stubborn refusal to accept defeat. Now he was seeing it with his own eyes. 2 minutes, announced calmly. Made his decision. He was a warrior, but he was not stupid. All troops, this is Commander, retreat to the drop ships immediately. We are withdrawing from this colony. Confirm your order, demanded. Pressed buttons on his command console. On the screens, they could see the forces on the ground stopping their attack. The warriors looked confused, but they followed orders. They started moving back toward their drop ships. Order confirmed, said bitterly. Now release my ship. Slav came over the radio. Ship released. You were never actually on a collision course. I just made your computer think you were. Human trick. His expression showed rage and grudging respect. You tricked me. War is full of tricks, said. Now send this message to your Dominion. Tell them humans are defending this sector. Tell them what happened here today. Tell them to stay away. The Dominion does not fear humans. Then the Dominion will learn, gestured toward the exit. Move toward the escape pods, all of you, slowly. The bridge crew obeyed. They moved toward the emergency escape pods at the edge of the bridge. Was the last to leave. He stopped at the pod entrance and looked back at the humans. This is not over, said. The Dominion will return with more ships, more soldiers. We look forward to it, replied. Tell them to bring their best. Entered the escape pod. It launched away from the ship. The entire bridge crew was gone in under a minute, and his team were alone on the bridge of a warship. Did we just capture a warship? Asked. I think we did, said slowly. They are going to love this, said over the radio. She was bringing the shuttle around to dock with the ship properly. A princess asks for help with one battle. Humans give her a battle victory and a free warship. Smiled despite his exhaustion. Always exceed expectations. That is how you build a reputation. Down on the colony, the remaining forces were boarding their drop ships. They lifted off and flew away at maximum speed. The miners emerged from the tunnels to see their colony damaged but still standing. They had won. Found helping injured miners. You did it, she said in disbelief. 40 humans against 2,000 and you won. We are humans, said simply. He was wrapping a bandage around his own arm. We do not know how to lose. How many of you died? None, 12 injured, but none dead, looked proud. That is another human advantage. We are very hard to kill. In the medical bay of the Iron Horizon was being treated for his injuries. 3 plasma burns to the chest. Under normal circumstances, those wounds would be fatal. But human medicine was designed for human bodies. Drugs that would kill other species just made humans stronger. Stimulants that would cause organ failure in aliens just helped humans ignore pain. The medical computer beeped. His wounds were already beginning to heal. His enhanced immune system was working overtime. In a few days, he would have scars. In a few weeks, even the scars would fade. Humans healed fast. That was part of their survival strategy. You should be dead, the medical AI said in its neutral voice. Probably, agreed. He sat up slowly. But I have things to do, people to fight, cannot die yet. Back on the command ship, stood on the bridge looking at the displays. This ship was his now. He could sell it for a fortune, or he could give it to Princess as a gift. That might be more useful in the long run. His radio crackled. Captain, this is the Space Defense. Please identify yourself. This is Captain of the Terran Free Company. I am aboard the captured command ship. The battle is over. The colony is secure. The enemy has retreated. There was a long pause, then a different voice came on. This voice was deep and authoritative. This is Admiral of the Third Fleet. Did you say captured? Yes, Admiral. We captured the command ship along with winning the battle. Would Princess like us to deliver it to her? It would make a nice present. Another long pause. Then the Admiral laughed. It was a booming laugh filled with genuine amusement. Captain, I have been in the military for 40 years. I have never heard of anyone capturing an enemy command ship during a defensive battle. You humans are insane." "Thank you, Admiral. We try our best." "Princess will want to speak with you immediately. She is on her way to the colony now." Smiled. "Tell Her Highness we will be here waiting, and tell her we kept our promise." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light speed. Every news channel showed the same footage. 40 human mercenaries had defeated 2,000 shock troops, not just defeated them, crushed them, humiliated them, and captured their command ship in the process. In the palace, Emperor sat in his private chamber watching the recordings. He watched them 3 times. Each time he saw the same thing: humans fighting with a fury and determination that made no logical sense. They should have lost. The math said they should have lost, but they won anyway. Prince Talon stood beside the Emperor. His scales were dark with anger. "This proves nothing," Talon said. "It was one battle, one lucky victory." "Lucky?" The Emperor looked at him. "They captured a warship, Talon. They are the most aggressive military force in this sector, and 6 humans took control of their command ship from the inside. That is not luck. That is skill." Skill or madness, there is little difference. "Perhaps." Emperor stood up. He was old, but he still moved with authority. "But madness that wins battles is valuable, more valuable than careful strategy that wins nothing." He walked to the window. Outside, the 3 suns were rising. A new day was beginning. Maybe a new era was beginning too. "My daughter has proven her point," the Emperor said quietly. "There are alternatives to your fleet, alternatives that do not require selling her in marriage." Talon's voice became cold and threatening. "You would break our agreement over a single battle won by barbarians." "I would reconsider our agreement based on new information." The Emperor turned to face Talon. "You wanted my daughter to secure a stronger position in this sector, but what if my daughter has found a better way? What if humans can be recruited in large numbers? What if they can become the foundation of a new military force?" "Humans are few in number. There are only a few thousand in this entire region of space." "Now, yes, but their home world has billions." The Emperor's eyes were sharp. "Captain believes he can recruit 10,000 warriors within a year, 10,000 humans properly equipped and properly trained. That would be a force to rival your fleet, Talon, and it would cost me nothing but money." Talon realized he was losing. The Emperor was looking for an excuse to break the marriage contract, and Princess had given him that excuse. "You will regret this decision," Talon said. "Perhaps, but it will be my decision to regret, not my daughter's." The Emperor gestured toward the door. "You are dismissed, Prince Talon. You may return to your own territory. I will send formal notice that the marriage contract is cancelled." Talon's rage was visible. His scales rippled with dark colors, but he could do nothing. The Emperor had made his choice. Talon bowed stiffly and left the chamber. His footsteps were heavy with barely controlled anger. The Emperor sat back down. He felt tired suddenly. Old, but also relieved. He had not wanted to give his daughter to that cruel prince. Now he did not have to. His daughter's stubborn bravery had saved them both. Princess arrived at mining colony 17 hours after the battle ended. She came with a small escort of guards and advisors, but she insisted on meeting Captain alone. They met in the colony's command center. It was a simple room with basic furniture, not fancy like the palace, but it was private. "You kept your promise," said she, looked at with new respect. "Not just kept it, you exceeded it completely." "We try to provide good customer service," replied with a slight smile. "Would your highness like us to gift wrap the captured warship? We could put a bow on it." Laughed. The sound was bright and genuine. "A bow would be lovely. But seriously, Captain, what you and your crew accomplished was extraordinary. The entire galaxy is talking about it." "Good, that will make recruitment easier," became more serious. "Your father sent a message earlier. He wants to meet with me. He mentioned something about a long-term contract. He is going to offer you exactly what I promised, the chance to build a real military force, human warriors as the core of the defense. His violet eyes were intense. 10,000 soldiers over the next year, training facilities, equipment, ships, everything you need. That is a big responsibility. Can you do it? Thought about his answer carefully. Yes, but I need to be clear about something, Your Highness. If we do this, if we build this force, it has to be done right. Human military doctrine, human training methods, human leadership. We cannot just be soldiers following orders. We have to be partners. Partners, repeated. She liked the sound of that word. Equal partners in defending this empire. Equal partners. We bring the warriors. You bring the resources and political support. Together we create something new. Something thee and anyone else will think twice about attacking. I can agree to those terms. Held out her hand in the human gesture she had learned. Partners. Shook her hand. Partners. And just so you know, partnering with humans usually means things will get interesting. We tend to attract trouble. I am beginning to understand that, smiled. But after the week I have had, a little more trouble does not seem so bad. Over the next few days, more details were worked out. Captain would become general, commander of the new human defense force. He would have authority to recruit, train, and deploy human warriors as he saw fit. They would provide funding, equipment, and political support. The news spread quickly. Within a week, messages started arriving from humans across the sector. Mercenaries, soldiers, adventurers, and people just looking for a steady job with good pay. The reputation of the battle at Mining Colony 17 had reached them. Everyone wanted to join the force that had humiliated the handled the recruitment logistics. She was good at organization and planning. We are getting thousands of applications, she reported to. Some of these people are obviously not qualified, but many are experienced warriors looking for a good fight and good pay. Screen them carefully, said. We need fighters, but we also need discipline. This cannot be just a mob of crazy humans. We are building a professional military. Professional but still crazy. Exactly, the best of both worlds. 6 months later, the first training facility opened on a moon. 5,000 humans had been recruited. They came from Earth and from human colonies scattered across space. They were different ages, different backgrounds, different experiences, but they all shared one thing. They were ready to fight. Stood watching the first training exercises. He saw humans running obstacle courses that would exhaust most species. He saw them practicing close combat using techniques developed over thousands of years of human warfare. He saw them learning to work as teams, combining individual skill with group tactics. Joined him on the observation deck. She had visited the facility many times. She wanted to understand these warriors who had saved her from an unwanted marriage and saved her empire from invasion. They look fierce, she said quietly. They are fierce, but they are also disciplined. That is the key. Controlled fury is more dangerous than random violence. Pointed to a training group. See that team? They are practicing ship boarding techniques. The same techniques we used on the command ship. In 3 months they will be able to do that operation in their sleep. They will come back eventually, said. Everyone knows that. They do not forget losses. They do not forgive defeats. Let them come. His voice was confident. By the time they return, we will have 10,000 trained warriors, and we will have something else. We will have proven that the empire is not weak, that it has teeth, that it has allies worth fearing. Allies, said softly, is that what we are? I think we are becoming something more than allies. We are becoming a partnership, humans and working together. That is rare in this galaxy. Most species do not trust each other enough for real cooperation. Why do you think we can? Considered the question. Because we both understand what it means to fight for something important. You fought for your freedom. We fight because it is what we do best. Those two motivations fit together well. Smiled, it was a warm smile, not the formal princess smile she showed at court, a real smile between friends. I think you might be right, General. I usually am, said with mock arrogance. Then he laughed, at least 50% of the time. 1 year after the battle at Mining Colony 17, the Human Defense Force held its official commissioning ceremony. 10,000 human warriors stood in formation. They wore new uniforms combining human and design elements. They carried weapons that mixed human and technology. They represented something entirely new in this part of the galaxy. Emperor gave a speech. He talked about courage and partnership. He talked about the strength that comes from combining different traditions. He talked about his daughter's wisdom in seeing potential where others saw only risk. Princess also spoke. She kept her speech short and direct. 1 year ago, I refused to marry for political convenience. People said I was foolish. They said I was risking everything. Maybe I was, but I believed there had to be a better way. These warriors standing before us today prove that belief was correct. Together, humans and will face whatever challenges come, and together we will prevail. The ceremony ended with a display of military capabilities. Human warriors demonstrated assault tactics, ship boarding procedures, and close combat techniques. Observers from across the sector watched with a mixture of awe and concern. The Empire was no longer weak. It had teeth now, very sharp teeth. That evening and stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city. The three suns were setting, painting the sky in beautiful colors. It had been a long year, a difficult year, but a successful year. Do you ever regret your decision? Asked, refusing the marriage, choosing this path. Never, said firmly. Prince Talon wanted power through me. You and your warriors earned respect through actions. That is the difference between a prison and a partnership. Wise words for someone so young. I am not that young. I am 143 years old. Laughed. By standards, maybe that is young. By human standards, you would be ancient. How old are you? 33, in my prime by human standards. So young to have accomplished so much. Humans do not have much time. Our lives are short compared to most species. Maybe that is why we live so intensely. We know we do not have centuries to accomplish our goals. We have to move fast. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Below them, the city lights began to glow. Millions of people living their lives, unaware that two people on this balcony had changed the course of history. They will return eventually, said. It was not the first time she had said this. It would not be the last. Yes, they will, and when they do, they will find something they do not expect. They will find humans who are ready, an alliance that has had time to grow strong. Looked at her with confidence. Let them come, we will be waiting. Together, said. Together, agreed. Above them, the stars began to appear, countless stars with countless worlds. The galaxy was vast and filled with dangers, but it was also filled with opportunities. Opportunities for courage, for friendship, for proving that sometimes the impossible was simply something nobody had tried hard enough to accomplish. Princess had halted her royal wedding. Captain had appeared when she needed him most. Together they had built something new, and the galaxy would never be quite the same again.